Hello everyone, my name is Vita and this is Hippie Crow Hub, a hub for unconventional homemakers and parents and anyone who can relate. So today's theme is daily chores, and I decided that for this theme I'm going to make a video about homemaking. As you hear a word homemaker and you go, huh? Why? Why on earth in this modern world would you want to stay home, clean, cook every single day, take care of annoying screaming kids, and don't do anything with your own life? That's pretty much has been the question in my head for the last 7.5 years of my life. And every single day I still choose to do this. All right, first of all, I'm going to share, I'll try to make my story a short one. So I grew up in Lithuania and I lived there until the age of 15. Then I moved to England, London, where I went to school. I was 15 years old, completed the school, and I went to college to do performing arts. And after that, I got myself a full-time job in a sports center because I was questioning whether I want to do the performing anymore. I took some time to travel. Everything that I earned, I spent pretty much for traveling and for leisure. And I discovered Asia and I enjoyed visiting Asia so much. My brother at the time lived in Hong Kong. So after 7 years of living in London, I thought I'll do something even more crazy and move to Hong Kong. And I did. And in Hong Kong, I worked as a teacher of performing arts. I was teaching dance for little kids, helping to choreograph events. I also started performing myself. I did modeling. I started shooting TV commercials and did a lot of entertainment work. And that went on for 7 years. Towards the end of living in Hong Kong, I also became a fitness personal trainer, and I taught fitness dance classes, which was a lot of fun. And then I met my husband-to-be, and very soon after that, we decided to start a family. And that's where everything changed. My crazy independent girl life has switched to completely opposite daily life, really. And why? Why on earth would you choose that? This is like the society's pressure, I would say, about women, for women. I have been feeling this kind of sense of that homemaking is being looked down on. I've been sensing that it's almost like you have nothing better to do with your life, and don't you want to think about yourself and follow your career, your dreams? And it kind of sounds a little silly, because what is more important than raising humans that you have made? And if you have even tiny sense of feeling like you want to make a world a better place, or you ever thought of changing the world in any way, that is the best way to start, is with yourself and your own family and your own children. And the love will spread. All right. So when I became pregnant with my daughter, I still worked as a fitness instructor. I was teaching group classes, and I was 5 months pregnant. And then very strong heat in Hong Kong made me feel really uncomfortable traveling from different locations. And I said to my husband, you know what? I think I need to lay low. Also, our family was gonna come and visit us, and I said it just makes sense if I just take a little time off and then figure it out later how we're gonna do this. And I stopped working. I was working as a freelancer at the time, so I could adjust my hours freely, if I wanted to work more or less. So I stopped that for a bit, and then my stomach grew bigger, and then during these couple of months before our baby arrived, I just felt like I was able to cook more. I was able to choose healthier options. I was putting a lot of thought of where I shop for groceries. I also put a lot of thought into what is healthy or not. We eliminated a lot of outing dinners and lunches and meals. We eliminated uh, some naughtier foods. I was able to pay full attention into what we eat, because fitness and health was always a big passion and big part of my life throughout the years of me being in this industry. And we realized very fast that that is also saving a lot of money. And that was also one of the intention, because my husband was the only person who was going to earn money for that time, what I was going to do. So instead of demanding for him to earn more, I focused on spending less. So everything I was able to do while being at home actually saved us money. We no longer needed to pay for expensive meals. I was able to cook everything. I was able to create a lot of things, to DIY a lot of things. I had some time, and we started choosing a very simple, calm leisure hikings, walks in a park. We stopped doing fancy dinners. We stopped going out so much, and that just made so much sense. And when my daughter was born, I, of course, was breastfeeding, and I felt like our bond and connection was so strong, and my daughter was very, very attached to me. And for me, it was normal to just allow it and let her to develop her confidence naturally through time. I was not into trying to push her away, getting her used to being without me. If she needed me, I wanted to be there for her. So my homemaker's decision just carry on through that, and as we continue, it just became a normal thing for us to fit into the budget that we have with the help of homemaking. Because when you are stay-at-home mother, it doesn't mean that your role is to just invent ways of how you're going to waste money. Your role, your opportunity, and the time that you have at home can really complement your husband's role as somebody who is bringing the income into the home. All right. And also, and since then, I haven't gone back to work for 7.5 years. My daughter is now 7.5 years. So if you take away also a couple of months before she was born, that is almost 8 years. I am a homemaker. And it's crazy. It is really crazy. And I have been asked questions like, but how about your career? How about your work? Are you gonna go back to dancing? Are you gonna go back to modeling? I was like, what? No, what? Why would I care about that? I'm raising a child. I'm raising a human. I'm taking care of my family. I'm cooking. I'm eating healthy. Of course, I was also tired, and it is a full-time job, you know, when you have a small baby. Also, if you choose to attend your baby at night and breastfeed them exclusively without any pacifiers or bottles, it is a very tiring job. And but it is so rewarding, and it's so worth it. I can go on about this forever, because every shortcut has its own consequence for the health and for long term. And you know, for example, I always have a joke that modern society has a way of helping parents to get rid of your baby as soon as they're born, with the pacifiers, with all the cribs, all the gadgets. They put them in and leave them, training them to sleep through the night as soon as they're born, bottle feeding, formula, and on and on and on. And none of that just felt natural for me and acceptable. So I was also lucky somewhat lucky that it all worked out, but also I was very dedicated to find out everything while I was pregnant. I was reading a lot of books and I wanted to prepare myself about a lot of things that is going to be suggested for me by medical industry, things that are going to be advised to me by maybe older generations, by people who grew up in the 50s maybe, who had their children a while ago and had completely different beliefs that are no longer proven to be healthy and good options. So I wanted to make sure that I have an opinion created by me. I didn't want people to be telling me what to do and me just like doing anything without analyzing or finding out if it's a right thing. All right, so here I am now with 2 children. We even moved to Canada after, once my daughter was 1 year old, we realized that Hong Kong is not the best family orientated place. And again, many people raise their families there and they absolutely love it. It's just that our goals and priorities started changing. So we moved to another country. We moved to Canada, and my husband had to completely change his work, his career, and it was financially it was even harder because we had to save even more. But we both still saw that for me to stay home is more valuable than me getting a job and putting kids in a daycare from very early age. That would have been, I don't know, it would have destroyed me mentally and emotionally. And I'm not gonna lie, I had my moments, with 2 little kids every single day, cleaning, cooking, attending them, the needs, the naps, breastfeeding. It is a very intense work, but you only do it for that short amount of time. And it is very rewarding and it is worth it, and I wouldn't have changed anything. And even though I had my moments of feeling burned out, I even was saying I'm so bored at home in my head because everything is just about attending kids and their needs. I don't even know what I like anymore. And I went through all of that, and before I thought that mothers would speak of about mothers would say after having children I had to find myself again, and I thought it was such a cliche, and I did have to find myself again. But at the same time, I don't see it as a negative thing. I see it now as something that is part of a natural transition, because when you are a woman, a single woman, or a married woman without children, or a woman who has not have children yet, you do see things differently. You think differently. You perceive the world slightly differently. But then when you do have children and you have such a strong bond and you have raised them all this time, you grow with your children. You grow as a person, and you grow as an individual. You grow as a mother. You grow as a woman in so many ways. And that doesn't mean that women who did not have children, they cannot grow and reach their wonderful highest and best selves. That doesn't mean at all. But from my experience, I have to say that transition and that time spent with my children has given me so many opportunities to become stronger, to become more dedicated, to prioritize my life so much better than I would have had with that before, or I would have had if I just chose to go to work and focused on earning money. Because just earning money cannot replace the time you would spend with your child. They do grow up fast. Everybody say they grow up so fast, enjoy every minute of it. But you know what? I have to say that I have spent every minute with my children. And so I cannot say I wish I spent more time with them, because I have spent every single day with my kids. And now they're a little bit older, and it's totally okay for them to have once in a while sleepovers at the grandparents, or they also attend school now. My boy is in kindergarten, and my who is 5 years old now. My daughter is 7, so she will be going to grade 3 in the fall. So everything has its own timing. All right. So these are all the practical decisions that led to me homemaking, and that has been like the best decision in my life. That doesn't mean that it was all cupcakes and it was all easy and straightforward. That doesn't mean that. But I have to say that it doesn't matter what you've done in your past. It doesn't matter what career you follow. It doesn't matter how much you have invested in the things that you did prior to having children. It is impossible to compare the value and the reward that you get from raising your own children. And yes, so these are my choices. And also, now that I have been stay-at-home mother for so long, and we do feel with my husband that maybe, you know, since they going to school, that I should start going back to doing something for myself, financially, to help financially, and for many other reasons. But at the same time, just going and getting a job felt completely inconvenient, because I still want to attend my children, like picking them up from school or being there for them when there's school holidays, also bringing them to their extracurriculum classes in the evenings or during the holidays. Also, I want to make home cooked food, and so that we can eat healthy, because the options out there are really not great, and it is so expensive to eat out. And seriously, if I didn't cook, I would need to pay my whole salary just so that we can eat some overpriced junk food that would actually hurt us. So just that itself is already financially extremely beneficial. And yes, you do have to be organized, and you do have to be on your feet every single day, planning, doing, cooking. But I'd rather do that than go and do some boring job just to collect a paycheck that I can give it to somebody else to give me a lot less options, that has a lot less value and quality to it than what I would do by myself. Right. So now that I'm still at home, we said that this year is supposed to be the year for me to figure out what am I going to do with myself, and I have discovered remembered other passions that I've had before I did all the other things for work. I love crafting. I love crochet. I love knitting, macrame, DIY. I love making handmade stuff and craft art. And so I decided, with the support of my husband, he said, take this year to figure it all out, because you need to do something creative at this point. You can become dependent on the job, because that is his role right now. So I can have a freedom to create my business and to create something that I'm very passionate about. So here comes, this leads to me starting my YouTube channel as a homemaker. Also, starting my website that would have everything that I do in it, blogs, tutorials, cooking, themes, self-care, a lot of different topics combined into one website. And also, since I'm a crafter, a craft art shop. So I'm working on that right now. So it's a very exciting time for me. Also slightly nervous because I have never done this before. And what can I say? You know, can't wait. And so this video, I just wanted to just spill all the beans and explain why I chose homemaking. Why on earth, right? I just homemaker, why? This is why I have explained myself. And if any moms who are expecting now and who are going through the same debate in your head, whether to go back to work in 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or 3 months, different countries have different annual leaves, different maternity leaves. So you have to really put your priorities in place, and you have to really calculate your options. And I don't see it being a bad thing to downsize a little bit or to spend less. There is always something that we truly really do not need in our lives, but we still spending on. Okay, and now if your life situation is a little more extreme, where your husband maybe is not working at all, or maybe your husband is really not earning a lot, or his job is really unstable, or maybe you don't have a partner or a husband who will support you and you're on your own, this is also something that cannot easily be solved. And you might truly not have an option of staying at home. Fortunately, I did have that option, but at the same time, on the other extreme, I have been told many, many times by women who told me, oh, you are so lucky you were able to stay home. I had to go back to work because I couldn't give up my salary. I couldn't lose the points in the working system, that they were career or whatever. But all of the stories that I heard from these women who had to go back to work, really in the end they did not have to, because their husbands were earning twice more money than mine. And they simply did not want to downsize. Their bills were higher, their mortgages were bigger. But I don't see why you can't downsize. I'm sure there could be plans. If you have a partner who is making stable income, there is no reason why you cannot calculate everything and see how you can fit into that budget. The worst case, maybe you can go back to work part-time, or share with your husband the hours of taking care of your child, or maybe you have family who can help you out. But even then, mother is something very, very precious. Only mother can breastfeed. Only mother has that special attachment because the baby was inside of us. And like I said, I don't want to criticize extremes, people who adopted children, people who truly have had different stories. It's not about me criticizing. I'm sharing about my situation and my story, and I know how much my daughter was attached to me, and she knew whether it was me or somebody else, and she only wanted to be next to me. And now she's very independent and clever young girl, and she's happy to go off for the whole day to school and nail it all. Okay, so here is my story, and I'm not here to advise you. I'm here to share what worked for me, and if you can relate, or if my story can encourage you in any ways, that is the key for making this video. Also, I wanted to add a little story behind this YouTube channel that I'm running. And also, I wanted to remind you to always think for yourself. A lot of people are very fast to advise everybody a lot of things, and it's not always best advice. So back yourself up with your own research. Take time to think what works for you and decide for yourself. If your gut feeling is telling you that you need to be close to your baby, you can find a way to do that. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.